Not for very long anyway. If there's no purpose, there's no direction, there's no plan, I'm out. It's kind of like shopping without a list, and some of y'all love doing that, and I love you, but that drives me insane, y'all. I can't do it. I get so frustrated pretty quickly. I need to be working toward a goal. There has to be some reason for the things that we're doing, and I know it's not just me. We all do this. Maybe not individually, but we certainly do it corporately. I mean, think about it. If everybody in this room, if we join together and we start all pushing in the same direction, it's amazing what can be accomplished, right? But my friend Aaron, he likes to say this thing. He says, if an army doesn't have a mission, they'll fight in the mess hall. You ever heard that? If an army doesn't have a mission, they'll fight in the mess hall. In any group of people, if you get them together with no real purpose or plan, we're not doing anything, then pretty soon they'll find a reason to be upset with one another, won't they? Eventually, they'll find something to be mad about. And all month long, we've been talking about being together the way that the first century church was together. We've talked about the need to believe in Jesus, to become a Christian, to grow as a Christian. We said we're not going to settle for being spiritual children the rest of our lives. Then last week, we talked about going beyond being friendly and moving to being friends, becoming family. We said we're going to belong. Okay? We're going to belong to Christ first and foremost. We're going to belong to one another as well. And today, we're going to land on this idea of become. How do we become the people that God has called us to be? We're going to believe, belong, become. If we're going to become the people that God has called us to be, we have got to lock in on a shared mission, don't you think? See, those of us who've been around church for a long time, we know that the coolest part about church is that church people never get upset or complain about anything, ever. We're always patient with one another. We always put other people's wants and needs ahead of our own. There's never competing visions. There's never like, well, I think we should do it this way. This is how we should accomplish the vision. Everybody's crystal clear on what we're doing, how we're going to do it, and we're all in agreement. That's the nice thing, and it's why we get along so well. Was that too on the nose, y'all? Maybe. But last week, we talked about how beautiful the church is and how it's incredible because the church is a unique space in that it brings together people from all generations and all walks of life and all kinds of life experiences, brings them into one place, and our lives are so much richer because the relationships that can be fostered in a place like this cannot be found anywhere else in the world. But here's the thing, y'all. When you gather 5 generations in the same place, and people from all these different backgrounds and places and walks of life, we better know what we're doing. We better have a plan. We better be trying to do something. Otherwise, we're going to be in big trouble really, really quickly. So how do we decide? How do we decide what it is that we're supposed to do? We take a vote on it? Or do we just maybe like try to stay out of each other's way, like you do you and I'll do me, and we hope that we don't cross paths somewhere along the way and butt heads? Well, there's good news and bad news when it comes to the mission of the church. The bad news is that it's really easy to get distracted from the mission. The good news is Jesus was not ambiguous at all about what the mission of the church is. He spelled it out very clearly just before Jesus ascended into heaven. We read this in Matthew 28:19 and 20. Here's what Jesus said. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you. And surely I'm with you always to the very end of the age. So what's the mission of the church? It's to make disciples. Make disciples. Discipleship is what every one of us has been called to. That's not an option. It's not a program. It's the mission. It's what we've been called to do. Now, discipleship is an interesting word because it's a word that churches like to throw around, like everybody knows what it means, everybody's on the same page, but we don't really define it because you see, if we define it, then we'll have to hold to it. And right now, if everybody kind of has competing definitions, then we can all just do what we do and call it discipleship. But today, I want to lock in and give us one shared definition, if I may. Okay? So you'll be crystal clear on what we mean at Swiss Cove when we say discipleship. Here's what we mean.